I'm back with another Silo Theory video. As always, I'm Al, this is the Geek in Review, and I think this is my 4th or 5th theory video. If you haven't had a look at the others, I suggest you give them a quick look, because I'm not going to cover every theory every week. There's links in the description and at the end of the video. But before I get to that, I just want to say I've just passed 1,000 subscribers, and man, I never thought in a million years I would ever reach that. So everyone that subscribed, absolutely thank you. You know, all the people at the start, the Australian girls, parentheses, everyone else, really appreciate your support and comments. And if you haven't done it already, please subscribe to the channel. And if you make it all the way to the end of the video, leave a like as well. But anyway, let's get to it. So yeah, a lot going on this week and a lot of answers and a lot of questions as always. But let's just get the monitoring room out the way. Now, I mentioned it in one of my last theory videos, asking sort of if there was going to be more than one room, and we haven't seen anything else because we've seen Sims go into the janitor's closet in this episode, and it does just appear to be that one room. So does that monitor all of the silo? If so, there's going to be absolutely huge gaps. I mean, you would need hundreds of people to monitor thousands, surely. So I'm not really sure how all this works yet. Hopefully we'll get to see a little bit more of the technology on this other side of the silo, but so far it is only this one room. Now, Bernard didn't get a lot to do this week, but it has been mentioned a few times that you notice he's drinking more and he's definitely more dishevelled and stressed. So I wonder what's going on there. Now, I've been told that this isn't in the books, it's something that's getting added into the show. So I wonder if it is setting anything up, because as I mentioned previously, I think Bernard doesn't like being out in the open like this. He's used to sort of doing all his dirty work behind closed doors. So I think this might be what's causing the stress rather than anything that's on the guy's conscience, because he seems to be a pretty cool, calm and collected customer up until the point he's forced to become mayor. So yeah, I'm very interested. What do you guys think of Bernard? Let me know in the comments below. Also, he really seems to want Juliet on his side, and I'm kind of wondering what's the benefit to him of this. He's making it pretty obvious and going out of his way. So if he is this sort of master manipulator, why is he doing this so openly when he could just sort of pull strings behind the scenes? He probably doesn't know about the cameras as he's the head of the IT, and he mentioned in this episode from his point of view the servers are the most important part of the silo, and surely the cameras and the monitoring system has to be linked to that. So I think he's sort of given a pretty clear nod on where he stands with all this. Now, a character that got a lot of focus in this episode, and I sort of expected it because we've seen her name in the book, is Gloria. One thing that I didn't mention in the review, because she says it in kind of passing, when she's talking to Juliet, she says, if you let it die, the trees die too. So what does that mean? If you let what die? The silo? I mean, is it something that direct, or is it something maybe a bit more abstract, like hope or the memory of the past? I'm going to get into all the past stuff later on in the video. But yeah, this seemed like a line that they didn't focus too much on. But given all the sort of circle symbolism on the silo and tree and life and regrowth and all that, this is definitely going to mean something. I think Juliet's going to realise what this means later on in the season. And it seems as if we're going to be getting Juliet's past explored this week through her mother's eyes. And they kind of set this up in the last episode because they hint that her dad might have handed over her mum. Now, did he do this trying to save Juliet? I don't know. He's definitely involved in something a bit shady, otherwise why would Juliet be so distant from him? But he doesn't really seem to know much, if anything, about what's going on in the greater plan, because he gave the sort of reason or excuse that he was told it was for the greater good. So I don't think he's involved in anything particularly too shady other than maybe some questionable actions in his past. But who exactly are they? Is it, you know, the head of the silo, someone shady that we've not seen? I don't think it's Sims, and I don't really think it's Bernard. I think it's going to be someone else. As I've said before, the highest rank in the silo is mayor, and that isn't president, prime minister, king or queen. So I do think that there is another level of the hierarchy, or maybe more than one, that we haven't seen. Now, going back onto the bigger plan, we find out that they've put something in the water to help people, well, not remember. Gloria says it, and, is she being literal? If so, how does she know or remember it herself if she's drinking the water? I think that's a very interesting question. Is maybe part of the whole population and birth control thing to weed out people that can't be controlled by the water? Maybe there are people that have got some sort of natural immunity to it. They might be linked, but I'm not entirely sure. What do you think about this? Because, again, it could go back to, was this part of the original plan of the silo? Has everyone getting drugged since day one? I don't entirely think so. I think it's something else. I think whatever caused the rebellion has led to the events that we're seeing at the moment. Got loads of comments in the last few videos, so although I don't have time to reply to all of them, I do read them. So if I haven't had time to reply, I do apologise. And that's what this section of the video is for. So I don't read out every comment every week, or this would be an insanely long video. But yeah, if you want your comment read out, comment in the comments with, your comment. So Akumax Tamashi, sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. I was so on the edge of my seat during this episode that when it ended, I literally threw my blanket over me and fell off the couch. And yeah, I get that. It did end on a bit of a what's going to happen next that wasn't really a cliffhanger. But yeah, there's been a lot of focus on what's going on in this episode, but not really what's going to happen next in, well, the next one. I think it's going to be Juliet on the run kind of thing, trying to form allies and stuff like that. But I'm not entirely sure. John Warfen said, I'm wondering how often the power to the view screen goes off, as I don't think the window cleaners die. Interesting. I've not really done many videos or talked about what I think's going on with the suits in the outside, because they've not really went back to the suits since episode 1. But I do think that whoever goes out to clean does die, I'm afraid. Sorry to say that, John, but, it's the hard truth. Space Case Z06 says, I can see how over the course of these last 3 episodes we're most likely going to lose 2 major characters, starting with Judge Meadows because she's been exposed as a puppet and doesn't effectively serve a purpose any longer. Put Paul Billings in her place, Gloria will probably be eliminated next week too, and Dr. Nichols will be sent to clean. I don't know. I mean, I can't see how Julia's dad would be sent to clean. He's not done anything. He seems to not, be in on it, but he's certainly not actively against it. I do think that Judge Meadows' time is numbered, though, but she's probably going to say one last thing or leave a clue for Juliet to follow up on. So I think you're absolutely right on that. I don't know if they put Billings in her place because he seems a bit young. But again, if there's a cure to the syndrome, Billings is probably going to get it. Adam Lure, again, sorry for mispronouncing that, stretch, but I wonder if the names George and Juliet are an oblique reference to 1984. Juliet being another form of Julia, and yeah, that's a good point. I don't know, because I thought the George Georgia thing was maybe his name from the, the book, but I think, could it be a reference? Could it be a nod to 1984? Absolutely, but I honestly don't know. Deborah Hobbins said, I know what's going to happen. I will not spoil it, but it's hard. Deborah, don't spoil it. I have to delete a couple of comments a week, which I think I'm quite lucky that most people don't spoil it. So if you have read the books, I appreciate not putting it in the comments, because I could read all the books and then spoil all the episodes and everything, but that's not the fun. The fun is theories, and that's what we're doing. Damaite Shaba, what a great name by the way, says, I'm starting to think they are not in the silo at all but outside, and that the silo is actually nothing but a testing ground to find the most resilient, curious, strong-willed people, those who buck the system and eventually demand to go outside knowing the risk. If you're a sheep and simply follow the norm, stick to the rules, they don't want you. Essentially a very elaborate large-scale Hunger Games using the prison of the silo to get very best minds the 10,000 has to offer. And that's a really good point. I never thought about it that way. I always thought the cleaning process was to weed out people that wanted to leave, obviously, but could there be a purpose to them leaving after that? I don't know. I'm going to actually do a video on the cleaning because something occurred to me about it this week. But yeah, that's a really good point. I like the way you're thinking there. The HC says, good episode, drawing the strings and plot points closer together. Wonder if there's still another admin layer out with the silo. And yeah, I'm getting a lot of comments of people saying that they think there's things going on outside. Maybe there is, and I'll keep mentioning the point because Mayor is the highest rank that we've seen in the silo, and I don't think that should be. So I think there is definitely someone above Mayor, and there's definitely someone above Bernard and Sims. But what that is it in the silo? Maybe. I think I'm 50-50 on it. Are they in contact with it outside anymore? I don't think so. I think that's what the rebellion stopped, was this contact with the outside world. I still think there's a chance that maybe this isn't the rebels we're seeing or the descendants of the rebels, but it's some sort of breakaway silo, if there are more, or if there is like a greater structure. There's still some people that have got theories that it's not on Earth, but I'm pretty sure it has to be with the technology and everything that's in there. Idiotic Fun says, why didn't the tree outside the screen wither after being dead for all this time? How is the tree trunk still standing? Wood lasts for a very long time, even if it's dead. I mean, I sort of grew up in the country and I seen loads of trees that were no longer growing, but they were not going anywhere, because if you get a tree that's hundreds of years old, even a small one, it's harder or as hard as concrete. So yeah, I think that's why it's probably there. Again, I'm not sure what's going on with it outside. I think it might be something to do with radiation, but again, that's for another video. Now, there are longer comments and I'm going to do a separate video for that, so make sure you subscribe and you get the notifications turned on so you don't miss it. And as always, I want to hear what you think, what's going on in the silo, what's going to happen this week with Juliet's mum in the flashback episode. So let me know in the comments below, or you can reach out to me on Twitter at The Geeks Reviews. And I really want to say again, thanks again for helping me to pass the 1,000 subscriber milestone. I'm going to be doing channel memberships and I'll let you know when they launch. And in that, you'll get early access to stuff, longer form videos, longer reviews, because I do edit them down quite a bit. So I'll let you know when that's coming up. But as always, my name's Al. Thanks for watching.